When Maya opened the birthday box, she gasped. "It's so pretty," she whispered, twirling the soft pink dress in her hands. It had tiny stars along the hem, a rounded collar, and crisp white stitching. She spun once, then froze. "Mommy," she said, holding the dress still. "What's this?" I leaned in, and my hands began to tremble. The embroidery said, "Little Emily." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just reacted. The worst part, it wasn't a mistake. My parents meant it. They wanted to see her again, Emily, the golden daughter who stole everything. And they used my daughter to do it. The box arrived on a Thursday. A standard brown shipping box with one corner, dented the cardboard slightly torn like it had been handled without care. On the label, Maya Carter, my daughter's name, in my mother's careful cursive. That same tight, precise slant she used for holiday envelopes, church tithe checks, and those weaponized Christmas cards where every compliment came with a hidden blade. I didn't think much of it. A late birthday gift, I assumed. Maya had turned 8 the week before. Maybe they were trying. Maybe it was just a nice gesture. I set the box down beside the breakfast mess, 2 half-empty cereal bowls, a sticky juice cup, and one unicorn drawing Maya hadn't finished coloring. She squealed when she saw the package. She loves getting mail. You could wrap a rock in tissue paper and she'd treat it like treasure. She was wearing mismatched socks, toothpaste, still on her chin. I told her to open it. Inside a single sheet of pristine white tissue folded with surgical neatness, my mother's signature touch. Maya peeled it back. Her breath caught. "It's a dress," she whispered. "Light pink, star embroidery, soft cotton, storybook cute. The kind of thing you'd wear to a fairy tale piano recital or a glitter-themed birthday party. Not my taste, but beautiful in that way little girls love." Even my husband glanced up from his laptop. "Fancy," he said. "She'll outgrow it in a month." Probably, I replied, managing a faint smile. Maya stood, held the dress up to her chest, and twirled once. The stars shimmered in the light. I almost told her how lovely she looked. Then she stopped. Completely. Like someone hit pause on a remote I couldn't see. Her hands trembled slightly. Her brows pulled together. And in the smallest voice, she asked Mommy, "What is this?" She turned the dress so I could see the front, and there it was, Little Emily, white thread, perfect cursive, centered just above the chest. Something snapped loose inside me, not dramatically, not loudly, just quietly. My hands began to shake. My heart didn't pound, it slowed heavy like sinking in water. I couldn't breathe properly, not all the way. Maya looked up at me, confused. "What's wrong?" I didn't answer. My husband came over. He leaned in. "That's weird," he muttered. "Maybe they got the name wrong, like a mix-up." Maya's eyes searched mine. "Did they think I was someone else?" she whispered. "Who's Emily?" I didn't speak. I just reached for the dress and said gently but firmly, "You're not wearing it. But it's okay." "No." I took it from her hands. She didn't argue. She just nodded and stepped back. I left the room without a word, the dress still in my hands. I didn't slam the door, didn't sob. I just walked to the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed and stared. The fabric was soft, familiar. My fingers remembered the texture before my memory did. It wasn't the same dress, but it could have been. Same pink, same stars, same shape. They hadn't found this dress. They'd recreated it. They'd had it made custom. Like a ghost, they wanted to dress again. And the name, that wasn't a mistake. That was the point. They wanted Maya to wear Emily's legacy, to carry the memory, to resurrect her. And in doing so, erase me. The room felt too still. I held the dress like it might detonate. My fingers kept twitching. My chest wouldn't rise all the way. I couldn't tell if I was cold or hot. I was just floating, disoriented, trying to make sense of a betrayal I hadn't expected to revisit. Outside the bedroom door, silence. Maya didn't follow me. She knows how to give space. She's 8. She shouldn't have to know that. I hate that she already does. I kept staring at the embroidery. White, cursive, soft thread, and a name I never say out loud. Emily, my sister, the favorite, the one who vanished and took everything with her. But the pink dress wasn't just about the past. It was a warning, a message wrapped in tissue paper. They weren't finished. They still hadn't let go. And now they wanted Maya, my daughter, to be their second chance at loving Emily. Only this time they'd do it right. Only this time I wouldn't be around to interfere. And that was the moment I knew this wasn't a mistake. This was a declaration, and I wouldn't let them win. The first time I realized I was invisible, I was 6 years old. I was holding a juice box in a room full of adults who were supposed to be celebrating me. It was my birthday. My mother had baked her lemon-frosted cake, the one with the sugared peel decorations that always made it look like it belonged in a wedding catalog. She'd invited everyone, neighbors, cousins, some woman from church, whose name I still don't know. But no one was looking at me. They were all looking at Emily. She had just been accepted into a youth dance program, something glittery sounding. Sparkle Steps or Star Academy. I don't remember the name, only the sequined announcement. She walked out of her bedroom in a soft pink dress, the original one, and spun like she had rehearsed that moment her entire life. Her curls bounced. Her smile landed like flashbulbs. People clapped. My aunt cried. My mother kissed her cheek. I walked up to my mom, quietly tugged her sleeve. "It's my birthday," I said. She didn't even turn her head. "Don't make this about you." I remember that line clearer than anything else that day. I remember standing next to the couch alone, the corner of the juice box crushed in my hand, watching Emily get photographed beside the cake that was supposed to be mine. That was the first time I felt the space between us, me and her. She was only 2 years older, but the distance was impossible. It was like trying to reach for light with your bare hands. You might catch a bit of warmth, but never the source. She wasn't cruel, not exactly. Emily never pushed me down or stole my toys. She didn't need to. She just took up all the oxygen in the room, and we all learned how to breathe less. As we grew older, the dynamic didn't change. If anything, it sharpened. I became the background daughter, the one who got solid grades, who followed the rules, who didn't require constant applause. I was the type of kid you could forget in the back seat. Emily, she was fire and velvet, the kind of person who made strangers want to invest in whatever she was selling, whether it was a talent show, performance, a charity bake sale, or her own version of the truth. In middle school, I copied her laugh in the mirror, practiced it like a monologue. I studied her posture, her handwriting, those big bubble-like letters with little stars over every eye. I was sure there was a formula, and if I could just replicate it, maybe I'd unlock whatever door she walked through so easily. But the door stayed closed. She coasted through high school like she was allergic to consequences. I stayed home, did the dishes, made excuses to teachers when she skipped tutoring. Then came college, or more accurately, the post-college performance she put on like a fashion show. Emily never stayed anywhere for long. She drifted job to job, boyfriend to boyfriend, state to state, but always with flair. There were glossy social media updates and expensive-looking photos from destinations no one had heard her mention before. And through it all, she spun the narrative that she was building something. The something, as it turned out, was a fashion brand. She pitched it to us at the dining table. A trendy, ethical, handmade clothing line for girls who want to feel like fireflies. That was her tagline. She came with sample fabrics, a mock-up website, a logo, and even a few staged photos that looked editorial enough to pass. She said she just needed seed money, not a handout, an investment. She said she'd repay every cent within a year, maybe even double it. All she needed was a little faith. My parents went first. They emptied what they had left in a savings account they were meant to use for their roof repair. I followed, not because I believed in the business, but because I believed in her. Because when you're raised in someone's shadow, any glimmer of warmth feels like sunlight. I gave more than I should have. Racked up credit card debt, cashed out the meager savings I'd built from tutoring and freelance jobs. Emily thanked me with a wink and a kiss on the forehead. At first, she kept in touch, sent update screenshots of supposed emails from boutiques. She even forwarded a blurry photo of someone wearing her design on a fashion blog. I wanted to believe, desperately. But then came the silences. At first, she said she was overwhelmed, needed time. Then the messages slowed. Eventually, they stopped. When I called, her voicemail was full. When I emailed, I got bounce backs. My parents were frantic. My mother made excuses. She's probably just in a new city. You know how artistic types are. My father became increasingly silent. It wasn't until a month later that we got the letter. Typed, short, detached. Emily had moved abroad. She needed space. She hoped we'd understand. No apology, no explanations, just distance. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I picked up the pieces instead. I helped my parents with their mortgage payments they'd made late, because they had given her their roof money. I picked up extra tutoring gigs worked late, cut my own expenses. Then the real wreckage arrived. Letters from banks, debt notices, collections calls. Apparently I had opened multiple credit lines I didn't remember. I hadn't. But Emily had, using my name, my social security number, my trust. And by the time I figured it out, the balances were already poisoned. The police called it a civil matter. The bank called it disputed identity. My credit tanked. I couldn't get approved for a loan. Couldn't qualify for a car upgrade. Couldn't even rent the apartment I wanted. I was stuck, financially, emotionally, legally. And through it all, my parents said the same thing on repeat. We're shattered. She fooled us all. We're so sorry. And I believed them. Until the comparison started. Maya looks so much like Emily did at that age. She has that same light. Maybe she'll dance first. It started small, a photo frame with Emily's dance photo placed oddly close to Maya's school picture. Then came the gifts, the books, the compliments, the pink, and I still didn't see it, not until the dress. You don't always notice betrayal in one clean moment. Sometimes it arrives in fragments so small and quiet you mistake them for coincidence. The pink dress wasn't the first sign. It was just the loudest. Before that, there were soft taps against the walls of my sanity. A conversation here, a glance there. Whispers that didn't sound like warnings until I played them back later on loop. I remember the first one. Maya was showing my mother a drawing she'd made. A fairy with blue wings and a golden braid. She's so creative, my mom said, her smile stretching. Just like Emily. It was harmless, I thought. Then came another. Maya did a silly twirl in the living room, pretending to be a ballerina. My dad chuckled. You know who else danced like that, Emily? Even had that same wobble in the landing. He said it like it was charming, like it was genetic, like Maya wasn't being herself, just echoing someone else. I told myself it was nostalgia, nothing more. People miss what they lose even when they shouldn't. But I couldn't ignore the way their eyes lingered on her when she giggled too loudly, or how they asked if we'd considered signing her up for a dance class just to see. Emily had danced. Maya hadn't shown much interest, but suddenly it became a suggestion that showed up in every visit. Then came the books, one by one. Children's books about stars and sparkle and belief. My mother said they were inspirational. But they were all ones Emily had loved, ones she'd memorized, Ones she used to read aloud in her sing-song voice like a performance. Maya flipped through them politely but never asked to read them twice. I should have known something was off when she stopped drawing for a while. Just stopped. Her colored pencils sat untouched in their cup for 2 weeks. I asked her why. She shrugged. They keep saying I draw like someone else. That hit me harder than I expected. I didn't respond right away. I didn't want her to see me freeze. I asked, Grandma, Grandpa, and how does that make you feel? She looked at me like I'd asked something obvious. I don't want to draw like someone else. I want to draw like me. I nodded, kissed her forehead. And later that night, I found myself standing in the kitchen staring at a magnet Emily had made when we were kids. It had stars on it, too. It was faded chipped, stuck in the corner where I'd stopped noticing it. I took it down. A few days later, Maya came home from school with a note in her backpack. Dance trial week. The school was offering free beginner classes for second graders. Maya had checked the no thanks box herself. My mother noticed the flyer on the counter. Oh, she should try, she said. She said no, but she might like it if she just gave it a chance. You never know until you try. I said nothing, because what I wanted to say was, she's not your redemption arc. She's not your chance to do Emily over. But I kept that thought tucked under my tongue, for now. Then came the name slips, little things, too fast to grab. At dinner one night, my mother was helping Maya cut her food and said, Emily, do you want more? Then froze, laughed. Sorry, old habits. Once, sure. But it happened again, and again. Once when my father was calling Maya from the porch and she didn't come. Maya. Another time when they were complimenting her piano practice. Emily used to hate scales. Oh, sorry, I meant Maya. Each one landed like a drop of water against stone. Annoying, maybe, but enough of them, and they carve holes you never meant to have. Then Maya said something that stopped me cold. Do you think I'll be as good as Emily someday? I put down my coffee cup so carefully, it didn't even clink. What do you mean she's really special? That's what Grandma says. Grandpa, too. She used to dance and draw and make clothes, and they say I'm lucky I'm like her. I crouched beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. You don't need to be like anyone, baby. You're already everything just as you are. She nodded slowly. But would they still like me if I wasn't like her? My mouth went dry. I wanted to scream, to storm over to my parents' house and throw open every closet door where they kept their illusions. But I didn't, because Maya wasn't broken. Not yet. But I could feel the weight of expectation starting to settle on her little shoulders. A few nights later, we had dinner at my parents' house. Maya had worn her favorite hoodie blue with a sparkly lightning bolt. She'd drawn it herself on fabric paint. It was crooked, messy, beautiful. My mother wrinkled her nose. Did she make that? She designed it, I said. Oh, she replied, forced smiling. Well, that's unique. Not quite what Emily used to wear, but still. My stomach turned, and that's when it began to click. They didn't just miss Emily. They were trying to resurrect her, in pieces, in comments, in Maya. That's why the compliments felt so off, why the gifts were always just familiar enough, why the photo albums came out more often, why every memory of my daughter was being bent, distorted, squeezed into a frame that had already broken. They weren't seeing Maya. They were looking for Emily. And when Maya twirled, when she laughed, when she stumbled, they applauded her like a rehearsal, like she was retracing a role someone else had already performed. I tried to rationalize it. They're grieving. They're nostalgic. They don't realize what they're doing. But then one night, as I was helping Maya clean her room, she held up a tiny pink hair clip. Grandma says I should wear this more. Emily used to. I stared at the clip. A simple thing. Glittery. inoffensive, but in that moment it felt like glass, because it wasn't about the clip. It was about the story being rewritten one hair accessory at a time. And I realized they weren't just missing Emily. They were rewriting her. They were reliving her. And they wanted my daughter to be the page. The confirmation didn't arrive like thunder. It came in a soft white envelope. I found it 3 days after the dress. Maya had gone to bed early. My husband was folding laundry. I was in the kitchen wiping down counters that didn't need it just for something to do, something to control. Then I saw it. A small envelope tucked beneath a pile of old mail on the hallway table. The return address, my parents' house, my mother's looping script. The kind of envelope she uses for thank you notes or church bulletins. Inside a printed invoice, not from a store, from a custom embroidery vendor, not even subtle. Itemized, custom children's dress, pale pink size 8, $134.99, embroidery add-on, name little Emily, $15 a roller. Special notes recreate based on original design from 199X, include star embroidery near hem. Style should be playful but classic. Shipping priority. Paid by check on file. I stared at it. The casual cruelty of it. The deliberateness. This wasn't nostalgia. This was premeditation. They hadn't found the dress in a store and thought, oh, this reminds us of Emily. They'd recreated it, commissioned it, specified every detail, the hem, the stars, the nickname, all of it like stitching a ghost into fabric. My stomach turned. I held the paper like it might catch fire. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the edge of the bed again. Dress folded, invoice beside me. The same question playing in my head like a static buzz. Why now? Why her? Why Maya? And then came the second confirmation, more brutal than the first. A forwarded email, by accident, from my mother. The subject line was blank, just a short chain below it. At first, I almost deleted it, assuming it was another link to some church bake sale or awkward family update. But then I saw the recipient chain. My mother, my father, Emily. I froze. The thread was short, just 3 emails. The first was from my mother. We're going to send the dress next week. It's ready. Can't wait to see her reaction. We'll let you know if it lands. Then Emily's reply. She'll freak out. Probably throw it out. But maybe the kid will like it. Can't hurt to try. She always did look like me. Then my father added, either way, we've tried. That's what matters. My hands clenched so hard I crumpled the corner of the printout before I even realized I'd printed it. They weren't just in contact with Emily. They were planning it together, behind my back, while I was working 2 jobs, while I was paying their bills, while I was defending them, while I was folding Maya's laundry and keeping us afloat. They had already chosen. They never stopped choosing her. They had plotted out how to send this pink echo of the past, fully aware of what it meant, knowing it would hurt me. And worse, they didn't care. The email said it all. She'll freak out. Like I was some irrational guard dog. Like my grief, my boundary, my parenting were all just obstacles in their fantasy of redemption. They didn't see me as a daughter anymore, not the one worth choosing anyway. They saw me as a gatekeeper to a grandchild who might just bring back the golden girl they'd lost. My throat felt raw. I hadn't spoken in hours, but the ache was there, like a scream that never made it to the surface. I didn't tell my husband, not yet. I needed to sit with it, hold the weight of it, feel what it felt like when your parents and the sister who stole from you, who destroyed your credit, your stability, your faith, banded together, not to rebuild trust, but to reanimate the past using your child. I read the email again. That line, she always did look like me. It stung more than anything Emily had ever said to me directly. Because Maya doesn't look like Emily. She looks like me. But they didn't see me in her. They only saw what they missed, what they mourned, what they wanted back. I sat still for a long time. No tears, no rage, just this deep, cavernous silence. It wasn't shock anymore, or sadness. It was clarity, the kind that feels like walking barefoot across a floor you didn't realize was made of glass. Everything made sense now. The comments, the gifts, the pink, the manipulation disguised as memory. It was never about healing. It was about control, and they were willing to hurt me again to get it. I folded the printout, laid it beside the dress, and that night I made a decision not in anger, but in cold, deliberate self-preservation. The next morning I woke early, the sky outside still the color of unbrewed tea. Maya was still asleep. My husband, bleary-eyed shirt half-buttoned, handed me a mug of coffee. "You sure?" he asked. I nodded. Then, holding the dress and the invoice, I walked to my desk, grabbed a plain brown paper bag, and added one final item, a handwritten note. 3 sentences. Nothing more. "You lost one daughter. I'm the one who stayed. You just never noticed. No rage, no performance, just fact." I sealed the bag, drove to their house, parked, walked up the steps without rushing, the rosemary bush still overgrown. The dent in the garage door still there unchanged, since the year my father reversed into it and blamed the weather. I didn't knock, didn't ring. I just set the package down and walked away. They wouldn't need to open it to know what it meant. But if they did, let the stitching speak louder than I ever had. I didn't wait for the fallout. I didn't stand by the door wondering if they'd call. I didn't check the cameras to see when they opened the package. I just went home, stepped inside, and exhaled like I'd been holding my breath for 20 years. The silence afterward wasn't peaceful. It was surgical, like something had been cut out of me. I stood in the kitchen. The morning sun was slicing through the blinds in angled strips across the floor. My coffee had gone cold. Maya was still asleep. I walked to the dining table, pulled out my phone, and opened my banking apps. I didn't pause, didn't flinch. I canceled the recurring grocery reload, then the monthly transfer to my parents' water bill, then the auto payment I'd been covering for their overdue mortgage interest. Swipe, cancel, confirm, done. Each confirmation screen felt like a soft mechanical sigh. One by one, I closed every tab that had connected my life to theirs. Not angrily, just finally. I kept the apps open a little longer than needed, like I wanted to memorize what it looked like to let go. Then I opened a new spreadsheet, titled it Things That Are Mine. It had one entry, Maya's lunch fund. That was it. But it was a start. When Maya came downstairs that morning, she blinked sleepily and hugged me like nothing had changed. And in that hug, I found the answer to every guilty whisper clawing at my chest. I hadn't burned a bridge. I'd built a fence, one they weren't allowed to climb anymore. I didn't tell my husband the full story that day. I think he already knew the shape of it. He's never been close to my family, not in the same bone-deep way I once tried to be. But when I told him I'd cut them off financially and emotionally, he just nodded. Finally, he said, "No judgment, just peace." The phone calls started by mid-morning. First my mom, then my dad, then both again, then texts, each one more frantic than the last. By noon, I had 5 missed calls, 3 voicemails, and a text that said simply, "Returning a birthday gift." What kind of message is that? Like they didn't understand? Like they really believed the dress had been just a gift? I ignored the calls, blocked the numbers, deleted the voicemails without listening, except one, just to know. My mother's voice sharp and scolding. You're being cruel. You're doing this to punish us for something that wasn't even our fault." Then my father, barely audible in the background. "And what does she mean? She's not going to pay any more. What the hell is she talking about?" I stared at my phone like it had grown teeth. They hadn't even tried to hide the entitlement. I kept thinking back to what they used to say when Emily vanished. "We're so sorry. She fooled us all. We're shattered." But they were only sorry because they got caught in the blast. They didn't regret giving her everything. They regretted that she didn't stick around. And now they wanted me to replace what Emily had stolen with my daughter, my labor, my loyalty. At 12:27 p.m., I answered one of the calls. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to hear them say it out loud. Maybe I wanted to stop imagining their excuses and finally hear them in real time. My mother didn't waste a second. "You're being cruel," she said. "You're punishing us for something we didn't do. Emily made her choices. We didn't know she'd really," I said. Calm, not sarcastic, just exhausted. "Then why were you still talking to her?" Silence. I heard my father inhale. "We just wanted to reconnect," he said. "She's your sister, and I'm your daughter." Another silence. "We lost her," my mother said. "No," I said. "She left. She took your money, she took mine, and she left. That's not lost. That's abandonment. She's in trouble. She's scared. She's always scared. And you're always there to catch her." I could hear her frustration boiling, the edge in her voice returning. "So now you're cutting us off. You're taking Maya away from us, too. She's not yours to mold. She's not a replacement. That's not what this is." "Then what is it?" I asked, because from where I'm standing it looks like you never stopped choosing her. You just got quieter about it. My father cut in. "That's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is that I scrubbed toilets at a second job to help you make mortgage payments, and you used that money to send my identity thief sister wire transfers. That's what's not fair. We didn't know how to tell you. You didn't want to. And then softly but finally, you don't get to ask for more from me. Not anymore." I hung up, blocked them both, deleted every recurring reminder I'd ever set for them. No more send grocery reload, no more call to check on late fee, no more birthday gift from Maya. Just silence. And it was quiet in a way that didn't ache. It was still, like a held breath you can finally let go. That night I didn't tell Maya much, just that Grandma and Grandpa wouldn't be around for a while. She didn't cry. She asked if it was because of the dress. I hesitated, then nodded. "They made a mistake," I said, "and I need to protect you from that." She nodded slowly. "Okay," she whispered, then hugged me tight. I like drawing better than dancing anyway. The next morning I made pancakes. Maya added too much syrup. My husband read the paper out loud like it was still 1995. The hinge on the cabinet creaked again, but I didn't mind. No tension in my shoulders. No dread in my chest. Just normal. I didn't miss them, and I didn't hate them. I just knew now I'd finally done what they never could. I'd chosen someone and kept choosing her. It's been over a year. No calls, no texts, no surprise packages on the porch, and no pink dresses in the mail. I didn't block them from everywhere. I didn't scorch the earth. I just stepped off it. I don't know what happened to the money they lost. I don't know where Emily is exactly. I heard through a cousin one of those second-string family members who still forwards chain emails that she's back, living with them again. Of course she is. The house is for sale now. Too much upkeep, someone said. Too many memories. I didn't ask what comes next for them, because this is about me and Maya and the home we've built that finally feels like ours. Sunday mornings mean pancakes. Not out of duty, not for show, just flour, egg, sugar, and stillness. Maya likes to blast music while brushing her teeth. It's always something glittery and chaotic. I let her. The cabinet hinge that used to creak got fixed by my husband last spring. It still makes a soft click now, but it's the kind that says, "This is lived in. This is home." Maya doesn't bring up my parents anymore, not in the way she used to. There was a time when every school project or recital came with a question, "Will Grandma come? Do you think Grandpa will watch me play piano?" Now those questions are gone, not bitter, just absent. I used to be scared of that, of what it meant, of what I'd taken from her. But I don't feel that fear anymore, because here's what replaced it. Maya comes home from school and hangs her backpack on the hook she labeled herself. She calls the living room her thinking spot. She paints again messy, wild, brilliant things that don't look like anyone else's. She drew a comic strip last week about a superhero called Maya the Just. In the last panel, she saved a little girl from a burning building. When I asked her where she got the idea, she shrugged. I think I want to help people feel safe. That's when I knew. She wasn't carrying the weight of their expectations. She was walking into a story of her own making. We planted a small herb garden on our balcony in March. Nothing fancy, just basil, rosemary, and a few struggling mint leaves. Every morning she waters them, talks to them like they're her students, says things like, "Don't give up. It's okay to grow slow." And I listen from the kitchen knowing she doesn't need them to flower quickly. She just needs to know they'll bloom in their time, just like her, just like me. The old pink dress, gone, donated, folded into a bin and given away to someone who wouldn't see it as a message from the past. The invoice. I burned it in the fire pit one night, not symbolically, not ceremonially, just practically. Because I didn't need proof anymore. I had something better, a clean calendar, a paid-off credit card, a bedtime routine that ends in real sleep, the kind where your heart doesn't race when the phone rings, the kind where you don't rehearse confrontations behind your toothbrush, the kind where you wake up and the silence feels like air, not judgment. I started doing small things just for myself. I joined a local art class, beginner watercolors, nothing fancy. But last week the instructor asked if I'd ever painted before. I told her no. She looked confused. "You hold the brush like someone who used to love this." And I realized I did, before Emily, before the debt, before the pink dress. I used to love colors, even if I was never the artist of the family. I went home and ordered myself a set of paints. Nothing expensive, just enough to feel like beginning again. On the wall in our hallway, there's a new frame. Inside it, a drawing Maya made of us. Me, her, and my husband. We're standing under a tree with sparkly leaves, and all three of us are holding hands. The title, "The Ones Who Stay." She didn't even know what that meant. But I did. That frame replaced the last photo I ever had of Emily in this house, and I didn't miss it. Not even a little. Because here's the thing about rebuilding. You don't need permission to begin. You just need to stop giving people the power to tear it down again. My parents still exist. They're still out there. So is Emily. But their echoes don't live in my house anymore. And that's what healing feels like. It's not dramatic. It doesn't arrive with trumpets or headlines. It creeps in on quiet mornings, pancake batter on the stove, and the sound of your daughter telling the herbs to try again tomorrow. It's not revenge. It's peace. Finally. Double betrayal feels like a hollow echo. If you've ever been torn between loyalty and survival, if you've ever had to choose yourself after they didn't choose you, this space is for your voice. You're not alone.